Now, Montel, you're saying that this talk back and forth about, firing the secretary doesn't do anyone any good. We're losing sight of the real problem, right?
Absolutely. Let's go to solutions. Look, you can chop off the head all you want, and we still have the problem. The body's still going to run around for a long time. There's this chicken out there. A lot of people don't even know about it. A crazy story called Magic Mike, a chicken who they chopped the head off of. That chicken lived for almost a year and a half, and people put it on show and displayed it all over America. They fed it through an eyedropper. Well, that's exactly what's going on right here. You can chop off Shinseki head, chop off the VA head. The same system is going to operate because the same system is what is flawed. There have been 30 years of studies, committees. It's time to stop the ignorance. Take the soldiers off the battlefield now. They came back from Afghanistan. They came back from Iraq and Iran. They're in battlefield USA. When we have look, this IG report, I hope all of America gets that. Fortunately, Neil, you get it, and I just got this report 15 minutes ago and read it before coming on. The IG report says, egregiously offensive. 1,400 soldiers were made to wait for up to 17 months, and there were 1,700 not even on a list. So how can we solve a problem where we don't even know where the problem begins? I am angry, my friend. I'm angry because, we made a promise. When I stood with my hand up proudly, I said, I do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith. I went through my oath. I told the world I'm willing to put my life on the line and die for you. Now, our guys went over. They've left body parts. Some of them never made it back. Some of them are here now, and their souls are still there. And we have the audacity to turn our back on them right this second. I'm going to tell you something. All societies are judged by what they do for the least of us. The least of us are the ones who protected this democracy. We owe this debt more than anything else. The president just promised $5 billion for terrorists around the world at West Point, where he could have used the day to say, I'm sorry for the pain that I've caused you, the families, and I'm gonna fix it today. And I'm gonna fix it by doing something like this. Everybody who hears my voice, you can tweet me at Montel_Williams and use hashtag VA Surge. Neil, you know this. 4 years ago, this government did a surge in Afghanistan. We put 33,000 troops on the ground in less than 90 days. Cost the taxpayers of America over $50 billion. We did it. It was assessed and needed to be done. We got the assessment finished in 20 days. I'm here to tell you that right now there's a budget going before Congress and Senate. We know that there's over $3 billion of waste in there right now that no one wants. There's an aircraft carrier, there's A-10s, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we don't want. Take $1 billion out of that right now, just add that to last year's military budget, and without any congressional orders, without a presidential signature, each branch of the service can put on temporary active duty any corpsman that just went off active duty because their service was over. Bring them back. Let's surge for the next 90 days, clear the entire backlog of appointments that have been missed, understand what we need to do, because there are soldiers who haven't seen doctors for 3 years. We don't even know the level of illness they have
but
now.
Montel,
so
would you
even know how much we got to pay?
I'm sorry, my friend, but would you be nervous about giving the VA even more money if it has a record of losing it or not accounting for it or looking after the soldiers you're trying to look after? Maybe the VA itself isn't up to that job.
We'll put the money into the account of the military so just we can pay for the salaries of the soldiers that we can bring back on. I spent 22 years in, and let me explain my service so everybody understands. I'm a Vietnam-era vet. I came in on a delayed entry program in 1973, went through boot camp in 74, was a Marine, got meritoriously promoted 3 times, entered the Naval Academy, went to the Naval Academy from 76 to 1980, then I served from 80 to 1989, active duty from 1989 until 1991, 92, I did something called TEMAC, temporary active duty. They were able to bring me back on active duty for 30-day, 20-day periods of time. That's part of the budget. When there's something or a crisis that needs to be done, they have it in the budget to do that. I'm saying give the budget to the military. So
I see your point. There's obviously, if we were good at surges in the military to go after bad guys, we should be up to surges that help these guys. But I think you had noticed or commented in a recent column you wrote that we're generally forgetting our soldiers these days, those who've been injured and those who've long since left service. And you notice it just in the celebrities who go to hospitals to visit them.
Not just celebrities, Neil, but
anyone.
Do you think about this? 4 years ago, 5 years ago, every award show, I don't care if it was the Grammys, the Emmys, the whatever, people stood up and said, I want to thank God and I want to thank all of our soldiers. It rolled off our lips like a saying, I support the troops, I support the troops. Well, 4 years ago when I was visiting soldiers at Walter Reed, I saw lots of people walking through the hallways. There were other celebrities there. 3 years ago, there was maybe 3 or 4. You see a couple congressmen there. 2 years ago, the numbers started going down. And in the last year, I talked to the guys myself, and they say nobody's visiting us anymore.
Do you think it's battle fatigue? Do you think that maybe the president, that's part of what he was talking about at West Point? We're just tired of wars and battles, and we might be taking it out on these guys.
Yeah, but guess what? Be as tired as you want, but that barbecue you had on Sunday was paid for on the backs of soldiers who left body parts in the battlefield.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So you have no right to forget. This is not a debt that we can say, oh, I'm not going to pay for a school lunch program. Oh, I'm not going to add more money to the FAA. No. Excuse me. This is the reason why we have a democracy. And until people really come together and get to this, we're really going to have a hard time, because guess what? At the same time we're having this conversation, there are people mongering in the hallways of Congress, getting ready to put troops on the ground in Syria, troops on the ground in Africa, troops on the ground in the Ukraine. Well, tell me who's going to go down and sign up and enlist today when they know that the government that they're enlisting to protect is doing nothing but lying, because when you come home, they will throw you, I hate to say it this way, it's as ignorant, as distasteful as giving me the middle finger, because that's what you're doing to the soldiers. We got to stop this.
Do soldiers tell you
that?
It's
not political.
Do soldiers tell you that when they see you, like, hey, come on, what was this for?
Brother, let me tell you, I see, talk to on a regular basis, people who've left more of their bodies and more of parts of them overseas. Their souls are still here, but they just wonder why. Why? 4 years ago, people bought them lunch in the airport. Now they just kind of look at them as they pass by and kind of wink. And I'm not telling you to go buy them something. They just want to know that you appreciate the fact that the reason why we and you didn't have to send your children to do this is because they did it for you. And the only reason why this is happening, I'm going to say this, and I hope people get really angry at me when I say this. The only reason why this happens is because we look at our Congress and our Senate today, we have less than 20% of them who served, who put a uniform on. And I believe the figure is less than 40% of them have had children who have served. So therefore, they are easy and quick to send someone else's child off to die, and they should be just as quick to protect them when they come home.
What kind of reaction do you get when you say this, when you spoke to that crowd?
I got at the crowd, those guys went nuts. They were extremely happy that I even came to see them. The reaction I'm getting right now, people, I'm really kind of blown away that people are angry at me because I'm just trying to tell you that democracies don't stand when you can't man an army, and you can't man an army if you lie to those who want to protect you. So I have people tweeting me saying, how dare you even talk to Glenn Beck about this? Why would you talk to Glenn Beck? Well, guess what? Do you know what, Neil? I put out my op-ed piece. Glenn Beck was the only person who picked it up. I couldn't get traction in New York Times, Post, because you don't want to hear me on this issue, I guess.
Yeah, this is not a right. It's not a right or left issue. I wish you had a lot more time. How are you feeling these days? I know you've been dealing with multiple sclerosis. How are you doing there?
Brother, first off, thank you, because I know you are, and people need to know you're such a great example, Neil. Thank you so much for so many of us who suffer, who understand that you can get up and go to work every day just like Neil.
How are you holding up, all right?
I'm doing really well, sir. I'm working on some things that I hope to come and talk to you about real soon, because I'm working on a project, a special medical device that we're working on FDA approval for, and it's going to come your way real soon.
Well, there could be no stronger ally in anyone's corner. And I read on some of your papers in the military, you know, you would be a little unruly as a soldier, but they always said you spoke your mind. I don't know where they got that from, Montel. Keep it up, my friend.
You know,
Keep it
they
up.
trained me, my friend. Thank you.
Think about what he said.